guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Down from the Rafters podcast here on Toned In Entertainment. Man, I just get so pumped every time, we got one of these podcasts going on. And of course, I get extra pumped when I have a co-host joining me, I think for the third week in a row, I believe, is Julie Cutler. How you doing, Julie?
I am doing amazing now that I'm here, Tony. Thank you so much again for having me. I feel like I say this all the time, but I am especially excited for tonight's podcast because we have a very special guest, somebody who I've been following on social media for quite some time, if I may. Hailing from Chop Studios in Matawan, New Jersey, representing Fight Factory Wrestling, he is Dave Sturchio.
All right. Hey, listen, do you need you're a ring announcer, obviously. All right. So that's cool.
Yes, I am.
I will keep that in mind. Where are you from, Julie?
I'm based in Massachusetts, Western Massachusetts.
All right. So it's a hop, skip, and a jump to New Jersey. So I can use you as a ring announcer. There you go.
Well, we'll keep that as food for thought. I wanted to thank you so much for being on the show today because I know, speaking for myself and also several of my colleagues in the independent wrestling scene, I saw on social media Fight Factory's inaugural show, The War on the Shore, back in June of this year. And I have to say, I think you guys made quite the stir for that being your first show because we saw incredibly professional production value, photos, incredible venue, top tier talent. Can you tell us a little bit about sort of how you got into creating your own promotion? I know that there's a couple of other colleagues that you do this with. How you got started with that and sort of what was your vision behind Fight Factory?
Well, I've been in professional wrestling since 2012. I was in ring from 2012 to 2016. I had myself a luxurious in-ring career. And when I say luxurious, I mean dog shit. Wasn't very good. I was a good, decent wrestler. The run wasn't that great. But then I tore my ACL in 2014. And then recovering from that, I started my first podcast. And I wanted to go that route for a little while until I was back in the ring. Got back in the ring. I was physically retired on my birthday in 2016. I caught a nice clothesline to the back of the head, dropped me, and I was out like a light. But ever since then, I've worked with Wrestle Pro out of Rahway, New Jersey. That's that's my home base. I've worked with them forever. And little by little, I've learned and learned different things of the nuances of the ins and outs of production and also how to run a show through Pat Buck, Kevin Matthews, guys like that. They've been very instrumental on me learning the other side of it rather than just wrestling and commentary, because I jumped on the commentary team right out of retirement and I stayed there. And Julie, I'm sorry to say, I was a ring announcer for quite some time. You were competition. Now I don't do it anymore. But a really good feel-good moment for myself is when they booked me for Bound for Glory, Impact, TNA, back in 2018, I believe it was, and had a great time there. But also along the way, I'm a sponge, man. I listen and I see what's going on how they produce a show. And say what you will about TNA, their production's pretty damn good too. And so learning under Pat and learning under TNA and seeing how WWE does it, I've always had the vision of running my own stuff, but I never had the team to really do it, because a one-man show, it would be hard pressed to find it to be a success without a really good team behind you. And we had been doing the Fight Factory podcast for a couple years, and Chris Payne is one of the owners of Fight Factory. He was the one that said, I've always had this dream to run this Bash at the Beach type show, and he tried to attempt to go to Tiki Bar in New Jersey about 10 years ago, and they shut him down at the door. They're like, no, wrestling, come on, get out of here. We're not doing any wrestling events. So let the salesman that I am go in there with Payne 10 years later, along with Tommy D. And we kind of wooed them. We said, I think this would be a good idea. I think this would be a lot of fun. It's never been done before. There's been other shows or other promotions that have tried to run on the boardwalk of like Seaside and like Wildwood, and like they've tried it. And don't get me wrong, some of them are a massive success, but we figured we could do it a little better. We felt like we had this vision, and I've been around the industry for 13 years now, or right, 2012 years. Sorry, going on 13. But yeah, I think Payne, when he said that to me, a light bulb went off, but it didn't really marinate yet. And I was like, yeah, one day, never. Yeah, right now, not in the cards, right? And then I had asked for a little bit more responsibility at WrestlePro. I said, guys, like I know that Kevin and Pat are very busy at AEW, and it is what it is, and that's totally fine. But WrestlePro was running less and less, and I was like, come on, like we have steam, we have this roster, we have these champions. It's so much fun. Let's get back to it. So I asked actually for a little bit more responsibility. I said, let me take over the day-to-day. Let me do this. And I was denied, and for good reason. It wasn't like it was like, screw you, Dave. You're not good at this. It was more like, hey, there's a lot of logistics, insurance, this, that, and the third. But at that moment of denial, I was like, I don't know if you guys, well, maybe Tony, maybe Julie, you guys are movie fans, but I'm a big fan of Major League 2. Well, both Major League movies. And there was a part of that movie where Serrano is asking Joe Boo for help. And then at one point he said, you know what? Fuck you, Joe Boo. I'll do it myself. And at that moment, that was a light bulb. And I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm going to do this myself now. Let's do this. Hey, Payne, remember the time you had a dream to do it? Well, let's do it. And then let's also start a promotion and add, I don't know, pounds and pounds of stress to us. And we did that. And I think that we pulled it off relatively well. I think everything kind of went smooth. The production was great. I had a great team. GPW Productions are top notch, the best of the best to do the filming. Myself, I toot my own horn of not being the greatest wrestler, but on the mic when I'm on commentary with Josh Chernoff, I find it hard pressed, at least on the independents, to think anybody's better. And you need that confidence. I think that if you know you're good at something, go at it and don't take no for an answer. Don't tell don't let anybody tell you different. I've been on record as saying like, look, I might be better than some of the guys on TV. It's just a matter of opportunity and a matter of, the right eyes seeing you do it. And I've called some phenomenal matches for WrestlePro. Like I said, I've worked for other companies and it's been fun, but calling my own show on that day in July, I was like, man, this is the pinnacle. And I think that a lot of the things that I was saying on commentary, I was like second guessing myself that it was happening. Like, so for instance, the women's championship match that we had with Lady Frost and Masha Slamovich was probably, if not one of my favorite matches on the show. It was incredible, but there was a 2 count at one point of the match. And I was like, 1, 2, kick out by whoever. Yeah, Slamovich, Kyoto with a 2 count. And I'm like, I have Mike fucking Kyoto as a referee. Is this real life?
Is this real?
So there was a lot of like pinch myself moments where I'm just like, this can't be happening. But it was happening and it was a lot of fun. And I think piggybacking off of that, we have a little momentum, a little steam. So we're going from the beach to the ball field. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And we have a lot of really fun plans in the future. I made a promise, and I said it tonight when we were recording the Fight Factory Wrestling podcast. I said, I made a promise to myself to never run. And this is, again, I try not to take too many shots at people, but I said, I promised myself I would never do a show at like a VFW or anything like that. Cause I've performed in them. They're fun. Like it is what it is. Right. Sorry about that. It is what it is. I felt to myself, I owed it to myself that no matter what kind of show we put on, we're going to put it on in the venue where you're like, they put wrestling here. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot down the pipe. And I think that we're going to shock a lot of people with a lot of announcements coming up within the next like couple months. But yeah, that's kind of how the vision all started. It started with denial. And I say that to everybody. You need to be told no a lot in this industry, in every industry. I've been told no since 2006. And in 2021, I started my own business here. I'm sitting in my own studio right now because I own it. And I was kind of tired of hearing no. So I created my own yes, if that makes sense. Because I'm just going to bet on myself for the rest of the way. So, here I am again, Fight Factory Wrestling. I'm betting on myself, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Overall, it's been a fun ride, a stressful one. A lot of sleepless nights, but comes with it, man. I'm having a ball doing it.
Yeah, Mosh Pit Messiah says the American dream. Doing it yourself. Respect, definitely. And I feel like this is a reoccurring theme, Julie, with our guests the past couple of weeks. And the phrase betting on yourself.
Yes.
I feel like this is a strong, I think here in 2024, I think a lot of people that know they can achieve more are ready to really set out and bet on themselves coming out of, the craziness that was 2020, 21, and
Absolutely.
just where we are right now economically and everything else that's going on. I think a lot of us are in that mind frame right now of betting on yourself. And it's super inspirational, Dave, to see you take those steps. Because I know Julie, myself, we're betting on ourselves too in a lot of different ways right now too, to make things happen. So I definitely want to commend you on taking those steps to get where you are now and to already be making a lot of waves in just a short amount of time in the professional wrestling industry with your new company.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I had, truth be told, I had a full-time job with benefits and all this stuff, and they were paying me handsomely. And I was like, I'm not happy doing this. And if the rumors are true, and when I say that, the rumor is we go around once, right? So I don't know. Listen, I'm not a super over religious guy, but if there is another way, another path, great. Can't wait to see it. But for now, the life I'm living right now, I'd rather really just live it up and just try to do as much as I possibly can. So if it does mean sacrificing the bank account a little bit and make it scary, so be it. I mean, I haven't set myself up to buy any yachts anytime soon, but I'm just trying to get by. And just like everybody else, I'm just trying to live that American dream. This is my calling. And I said it in my opening promo at the first show, that legacy is a big word that's thrown around when it comes to either sports media, professional wrestling, whatever. What do you want these people to remember you by? And to be honest with you, I think my legacy is doing this, providing an outlet for talented individuals. And I'm not, again, I don't knock anybody for trying to become a pro wrestler, but there is too many pro wrestling companies out there that do produce some dog shit wrestling. You know what I mean? And that's just them trying to make a buck. And I don't believe in that. I believe you need to go train the right way, whether you're a referee, a manager, or even a ring announcer. Julie, I'm not saying go take some bumps, but I'm saying you got to know how to do it, and you got to know how to experience it, because the only way you can actually, if Julie or Tony, you guys are on commentary, the only way to really, really get in touch with the fans and make them believe that everything you're saying is true is to know that you've done it before. So you can actually explain to them, look, I know when somebody gets slammed onto the apron, what's the first thing you say? That's the hardest part of the ring. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's all comedy and that's all good. But there's little intricacies that you need to know, and you only learn by doing it. So that's kind of where I was. I was in the ring. I've done it. I've wrestled some really cool people in my day, right? And they make fun of me all the time because my claim to fame was wrestling Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So,
that's pretty damn cool. Hey.
I thought it was, but then it became a running joke. Jesus Christ, Dave will not shut up about this. And look, but wait, listen, to be honest with you, and this goes to any pro wrestler watching this, it is, yes, it's about your in-ring ability, but at the end of the day, can you sell the fight? Can you sell the tickets? I'm not talking ticket pushers, please buy this ticket, I'm in a Rumble.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm talking about hey, I'm investing, they're investing in me, so I need to invest in them. And that's where I book my people. And then you live and you learn, because a couple of the people that I booked, they didn't say boo about the event. They didn't say a goddamn thing. And I'm like, well, that's noted. In the back of my mind, I don't need them again. That's fine. But there are people that put out a promo every other day. And I was like, okay, those are the people that I want. Same thing with people that showed up at 8:30 in the morning to help us set up the ring. And same thing with the breakdown of the ring at the end of the night. There was a group of 5 of us. It was pouring rain at the end of the night. We just beat a storm, a hurricane, right? And
I remember that, actually. I remember seeing that online.
There were people that stuck with us the entire night to make sure every single last piece of something was put away. And I'll never forget that. And I could put over a couple people like LSG, him and his girlfriend. They didn't leave. They were just, do you need anything else, Dave? And I'm like, no, I'm good. And then I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, man, I really wish I didn't book you to get eliminated first tonight. But that's how we booked it. But now going forward, I'm like, I would love, I've known him for a long time. And I'm like, but in my mind, it goes a long way, and
Yes.
and that goes for everybody. I know you guys just had Steve Gipke on. He said,
yes, fantastic person.
He's great. I mean, me and him just shared some really good memories at the Creed concert in New Jersey.
I love that. We had
a great time. We drank a little bit and we had a great time. He'll probably not try to deny himself drinking, but he was like double fisting and shit. So because with his physique, you would think like, oh, this guy must eat rice for a living, but like this dude, he can pound them back too. But yeah, that's kind of my philosophy going forward. Like if you lend a hand and you help out and you promote the fight, and that's the name of the game, man, and make really good relationships along the way. Don't step on toes. My objective of starting a promotion was never to be like, yo, we're taking over. Like it was never that. It was like, yo, we want to be an outlet for talented wrestlers to come and have themselves a good time and get paid well. Like I'm not talking, I had a goal in mind. Hey, no wrestlers making less than this. I don't care who you are. And that was my thing, because there's people out there that are still wrestling for $20 and putting their lives, literal lives on the line. That doesn't fly with me. And not, like I said, I'm not giving them thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm saying like, I'm going to give you enough to make sure that you get taken care of. You can get to and from here, fill your gas tank a little bit, have a meal, and then buy your girlfriend something nice. I don't know, like whatever you want to do with your money, that's up to you. But I want to make sure everybody's taken care of.
And Dave, I think that you made a really good point that I want to circle back to for a second, because I saw someone post about this online the other day. And I think sometimes in the independent scene, there's a lot of pressure on wrestlers to promote the show and get your promos done and this and that. But on the flip side of that, there was a message that I read, and it was about promoters, and it was saying, if you as the promoter, if you're using your social media frequently and you're promoting the event and you're sharing photos and videos and your flyers and all these different things, and the talent sees that, then I think a lot of the time that inherently gets the talent on board to start sharing, and then now they have the content to share, right? And I think that that's something really that you guys did very well right from the get-go. Was, I mean, I caught onto your social media fire right away. I mean, I had, right around the time of your inaugural show, Fight Factory Wrestling was all over my news feed. And so jumping off of that, something else that I wanted to ask you is, obviously you've done a lot of different things in professional wrestling. You've worn a lot of different hats. Putting on this promoter hat, given all the experience that you have, what do you think was the most surprising thing that you encountered? Were there any things that maybe you didn't expect, kind of taking on this new role, that you were like, oh, okay, mentally noted for next time?
I think maybe some of the most surprising things that happened on that day was the people that showed up. Like I knew what a pre-sale was, but then I was like seeing people come in off the street, and I'm like, huh. Right. And then like you would think, again, you don't know who's going to show up. Right. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, the tight end for the Giants is here. And I was like,
oh, wow.
What? First of all, I'll fight him, like
you get the cowboy hat on.
Yeah. Right. I'm like, oh, cool. And then they're like, yeah, this referee from WWE, he wants to know if he can come in and watch the show. I said, yeah, of course. Like active referees that are on Raw every Monday decided to check out my show. And I was like, that was pretty cool. And then I was getting messages from guys that are in the WWE locker room, like, yo, saw the show, looks great. You did great. Congratulate. Those are the surprising things to me, because I don't ask for that stuff. I don't say like, hey, everybody, shine like flower, all my flowers, give them all. Like, I need it all. I'm not that guy. I just do the best I can and put my best foot forward. And I'm not a saint by any stretch, but seeing the crowd and the mass show up. I think the one thing I would change was that, and again, this is not a bad thing. So I don't know if either of you have ever been to Tiki Bar in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, but it is attached to another bar, right? And they have a pier on the top. So everybody like that was eating dinner at the pier kind of got a free show. they were like looking down onto the beach. And I'm like, you freeloading mother effers, right? The best part about it was there was a bar next door that had a live band playing. And I felt bad for the band because everybody gravitated to the fence and they're all looking over the fence at our show, a whole sea of people. So I was like, dude, this is insanity. I cannot believe the turnout for this thing. And again, our YouTube is small peanuts. We put it up on the My Fandom YouTube channel, and it's got 5,100 people checked it out, and people were buying it for like I think we had it on sale for like 2 weeks for like $5 or whatever. Just like try to make an extra buck. You have to, right? You try, and people were buying it. In fact, people that were there were buying it. You know what I mean? Like they already saw the damn show. What are you going to see it again for? But it's just the overall support. I would never change anything as far as the setup, maybe the time, because we were there from like 8 o'clock in the morning all the way to like midnight, maybe later than that. It was a long day. So like the next show, I'm just like, hey, show up at noon. We'll be okay. Like we could sleep a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that's really, I really wouldn't do anything different than what we did. Like the only hiccup that we came across was after we booked Matt Cardona, like about a couple weeks later, he's like, hey, tore my pec. I can't wrestle. And I was like, fuck, right? And I'm like, what do we do? Blah, blah, blah. But Cardona, he's a pro's pro, man. He will market himself as heavily as humanly possible. If you follow him on social media, it's almost impossible to not know what he's got going on. He decided out of the kindness of his heart, he's like, look, if you think there's people that are there to see me, I'll still show up. I don't know where I'll be physically, by that time, because I guess it was like a 4 or 5 month recovery, and he just did it. So it would be around the 3.5 month mark. So we knew like we can't put this guy in a match. But dude, here he is swinging a chair for us, in the main event, just getting involved and planting a seed for a show down the road. But to see Matt Cardona do that, Joey Janela was an absolute hit. Mike Santana was unbelievable. He had amazing things to say for us. I think Cardona saying to us that like he really expected 100 people to be there in a ring to be on a beach, and that was it. And then when he walked in and he saw the production and everything set up, it took, remember, Matt Cardona's been to the mountaintop. And for him to say anything to us positive like that, he didn't have to, but he did. And it kind of resonated with me. And I was like, you know what? If Matt Cardona thinks it's a good show, it's a good fucking show. You know what I mean? Like he's been to WrestleMania. I have not. I almost was booked as an extra in WrestleMania once upon a time, but I got hammered in the parking lot. It didn't work out. I didn't know
that. It's a favorite podcast, though, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it is what it is on that one. But yeah, I wouldn't really change anything. The hustle was good. All the teammates were good. Everybody was good, man. Everybody's just a positive locker room. The locker room was good. There was no drama whatsoever. None. And wrestling, Julie and Tony, you guys know. That's all this fucking business is about. Everybody wants to step on people. Everybody wants to be a jerk. Everybody wants to be mean and brash and expose this and expose that and this, that, and the third. I'm just like, dude, there wasn't a complaint out there. And like, I think it was one of, Lady Frost was booked and she's our women's champion now. But like she had texted me throughout the day. Like she was at her merch table selling merch, but she also saw me running around like a madman, just trying to make sure everything was all good. She texted me, and she'll kill me for saying this, but whatever, I don't care. I'll text her later and apologize. But she said to me, she goes, take a minute and just go look at what you've built. Like this is like, embrace this shit, man. Stop being a maniac. And I mean, that's the way I'm wired. I'm just like high strung and checking the weather and then checking the tickets and making sure this, that, and the third. Everything was good. The main event was, this is peeling back the curtain a little bit. I redid the main event commentary for video because I was so focused on the impending storm that was about to hit. I didn't know the timing of it. So my commentary sucked. I was like, oh, there's a, suplex. And I'm just looking around. Oh yeah. And it was bad. It was probably my worst commentator thing ever. And I was like, I'm not putting that online. There's no way, that's the only thing I would have done different is focus more on what was in front of me rather than like what was ahead and literally down the street, which was, there was a couple, and trust me, it made for awesome pictures, because there was a couple times where somebody was slammed in the middle of a lightning bolt in the background and it lit up the whole sky. And I'm like,
That's
okay,
actually
that was a great
pretty
picture,
cool.
but we might all die, right?
So
So
looking like a movie in the background.
yeah. I was like, this is great, but at the same time, I'm like, take cover, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it was, but yeah, that's bottom line. I wouldn't change a thing. I think that, you know, now that we've learned certain things of how long certain things take, where the lights should be, the entranceway was incredible. Like, we had a great entrance. We're going to duplicate that, if not make it even better. They told me at the baseball stadium that there's, you know, with certain permits or certain things that like we can have like pyro, and I'm like, oh, say less.
Ooh.
You know, like let's go, let's light some shit on fire. Not like Smurf's house, but like, you know, light stuff on fire.
Within reason.
Within reason, right? You can just light, my goal is to light the world on fire, not, you know, figuratively, not literally. So that's where I'm at. Then.
Dave, let me ask you, because I love, you know, as much as I love professional wrestling, like I want like the full package when I go to shows. Like I love bar food, I want drinks, I like the whole thing, you know, like, so the fact that, you know, you guys are doing it at a tiki bar now, and you said that 10 years ago they denied it, and here you are in 2024 and they're gung ho. What flip do you think switched with them to say, like, let's take a chance on professional wrestling? Because it seems like it definitely paid off for them and for you. Like, it's a win-win situation.
Oh yeah, I mean, I haven't really said it publicly, but like after the event, they're like, "Hey, you guys are coming back, right?" Like, and I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. See you at the Shore in 2025. Let's go." And that's true, Mosh Pit. You can't have a wrestling show without booze. In fact, you know what okay, Julie, you asked if I changed anything.
Yes.
I would have gotten a goddamn drink after it was all done, but I was so focused on breaking down the show that by the time I wanted to get a drink, the bar was closed. And I was like,
oh, no, I've been there.
How did I miss my celebratory beer? You know, like, so I got back to my hotel room and I was like, I'll have this celebratory Dorito. I don't know. This sucks. I didn't get to celebrate. Right? That's just the way I'm wired, man. I just like, unfortunately, I can't. I embraced it. I had a great time with it, but my mind was like, okay, on to the next one. You know?
I feel the same way, Dave. I'm the same way.
I got to say, and this is something that I work with, you know, truth be told, in therapy. I tell my therapist all the time, like, how do I stay present in the moment? And how do I stop worrying about the next thing and just really embrace what we just did? Because what we did was made history. Nobody else has done this. So what flipped them? I think it was the anticipation that there was going to be a lot of crowd, and wrestling fans are typically rowdy. And, you know, if you add booze to it, which shout out to Super Bird Tequila, one of our big sponsors, they came in, made some mixed drinks. Everybody was hammered. We all had a great time. And I think that's what flipped them, because they said, and I talked to a couple bartenders since the show, that's the best night they've ever had working there. Wow. You know, as far as like making money, and, you know, because wrestling fans, they come, listen, you've seen it, like they come with cash and they're ready to spend it on either autographs, merch, food, whatever. And
right. They want the experience. They want
and they spent it all on food and booze and shit. And I was like, whatever, I don't care. You know, this is great. Let's just do it.
Everybody benefits.
Everybody wins. And I think Tiki Bar was they were very, very accommodating with everything. They really were. Like, how many tables you need, how many extra chairs you need. Do you need this? Do you need that? They saw the buzz. And every week I would tell them, like, here's the pre-sale numbers. And they were lighting up. They were like, holy shit. And look, guys, keep this in mind. This was a friggin' Tuesday night in the summer. This was not a Thursday, not a Friday. This was a weeknight in the middle of the summer. And we were able to pull, you know, 750 to 1,000 people on the beach. And I'm like, I don't know how we did this. And the only thing I told them, I said, look, we'll come back, but give us another night. You know, give us a really, like, and it's hard for them to just shut the bar down, because they're an incredible machine. So look, if a Tuesday drew, fuck it, leave us on Tuesday. We'll see you there.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to ask, because I've been seeing advertising for the next show coming out, which is Knuckle Brawl on September 21st. And I saw that you guys are bringing in some more big names. I saw Enzo is booked for the show, who is a friend of mine. I was very excited to see him on there. I recognize some names from OVW, from other places. What can you tell us about the upcoming show on the 21st that we should really be looking forward to? This second second time experience.
I think when we created Fight Factory Wrestling, people are like, what does Fight Factory even mean? Right? What does it mean? Like, usually it's like the alphabet soup, like, oh, come see me at W234W. You know, it's like all this, right? I was like, we're the Fight Factory. And what that does and what that means is we want to manufacture, just like a factory, manufacture the future of professional wrestling. So what we want to do is we want to combine that with the future and the present. So right now you get a good splash of Enzo, who's out of control, lunatic, but I love him, right? I've loved him since he was in WWE, and I followed his career. He's a Jersey guy, so it makes sense, right? And then there's AJ Francis from TNA. He's coming on in. We got Alpha Jr., which, again, that's a big one for us because that the legacy and the bloodline that we're trying to create this independent bloodline thing because, again, we had Lance Anoa'i do a surprise run-in at the end of our first show, and then unfortunately he wasn't around for the second one. Well, we suspended him for jumping in the first show, but we said, you know what? It's crazy because then we did like a little bit of a cross promotion. They gave us the ability to go and send Danny Moff, our champion, to his show to beat up Lance. And it was like, and we got to promote that. So it was like, it's good business all around. Everybody eats. But for this show in particular, you know, there is another women's match. I think it's going to be great. Freya the Slayer from OVW, and you've seen her on Wrestlers. She is awesome. I got to work with her a few times out in Alaska because that's where I was. Again, WrestlePro went out to Alaska. How they made it out there, I have no idea. But I was just along for the ride. I was like,
actually, I know LSG was a name that I saw go up there. Cheeseburger, I saw.
Yeah,
go up there.
Cheeseburger was great on the first show. We're gonna probably try to get him on the third show. There's only so many matches to go around, but we wanted to get a good mix because there's a couple guys out there that are making waves on the independents, and then they deserve all the spotlight. And to be honest with you, I want to get them now before their price goes up when they sign that contract with whoever. Like GKM is a guy that I'm focused on. He is one of the most fun guys to watch. He's going to go one-on-one with Enzo, right? So it's like the past / present meets future, right? And that's how I want it. And then we have one of my favorite guys, and he'll tell you this too. One of his first days he ever stepped foot in a gym to lift his first weight was with me, and that's Casey Navarro.
Yes, I know Tony's familiar with Casey.
Yeah. Me and him go way back. And again, I put him in our main event to start, and now I got him one-on-one with Homicide. And I think, like I said, Homicide told me that after 30 years or however long, 25 years of doing this, that he's going to be calling it quits like this year. So he told me, he's like, it wasn't like it was match approval, but like he wanted to make sure that if he's going to have only like 5 or 6 more matches, that they're all like somebody that he wants to go with. And I told him Casey Navarro, and he's like, yo, bet, let's go. You know, and I was like, all right, cool. So I got that going on. TJ Marconi is a Staten Island guy. He's a Warriors of Wrestling guy. He's very good and talented. I got him against one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen in my life, Wrecking Ball Legursky.
Yes, I've worked with Wrecking Ball a number of times as well, and he's also signed with the NWA.
Yes, he's another juggernaut of a human being. So I got those two guys going against each other. So as long as the ring, we should probably put them later in the night. So if they do break the ring based off being too hard, we won't have to deal with too much after. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we're trying to build stars that may not get the rub elsewhere, you know. And I've seen GKM I bring him up again, but I've seen him on all this extra work doing WWE. He just got beat up by Punk last week, and then like the week before that, he got beat up by Lance Archer at AEW. So he's doing a bunch of shit, and I'm like, well, you know what? That's all well and good, and those are really good opportunities to get the eyeballs on you. But I want to see you wrestle. You know what I mean? I want you back in the ring for us. So I put him with Enzo, and I said, you ready for this? He's like, let's fucking go, you know, like, let's get it done. So it's a good mix of, like I said, future, present, past, it's all here. And that's kind of the goal for going forward, you know? So like, we'll have a couple big names to draw the people and like, ooh, you know, I want to see those people. But the real goal for me personally is to give the platform to the guys that I want to see go, who can go, right? And they have to be able to go. My DMs have never been more on fire since becoming a promoter, which I don't like at all because it's just like, I'm a very private person, to be honest with you. As much as you see me out there with all my social media shit, I do like to keep my shit, you know, separated. But you know, I'm getting resumes out the ass, you know, like, oh, you got to see me at this show, and I was trained by this guy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, let me check out your gear real quick. And it's a cutoff sleeve t-shirt and jean short. Like, you're not fucking, you know, so let's try again. You know, and I'm not trying to be a douche, but I do know what I want as far as quality of wrestling, and it's sure as hell not that. So get yourself some wrestling gear, get yourself some training, and come on board. You know, that's kind of what I'm looking for.
There's only one man that can pull off the cutoff jean shorts, and that's Ken Dixon. And he's already on the show.
Yeah. Ken Dixon also looks like $1 million, you know, so Ken Dixon has this look. And you know what? If Ken's listening, screw you, Ken, for being able to look that way and drink the way you do, because I drink the way I do and I can't get what you got. So it's like, you know, I was born a bigger dude, and that's just the way it's always going to be. There's sometimes the sunlight will hit me just right. I'm like, is that an ab? Nah, probably not. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a bigger guy. So like, but for him to be able to slug beer like that, it's just not fair, to be honest with you.
I know we have a hard out coming up here in a few minutes, Dave. So
take it to 50, bro. Take it to 50.
Okay. We got 10 more minutes. We got 10 more minutes with Dave. All right. What would you say is, you know, the biggest challenge with booking? Because I know, are you looking at the budget? Are you looking at the overall talent? Like, what really goes into the biggest challenge you have for booking a show?
Yeah, budget's definitely one of the big ones.
Oh, I think Dave gave us extra minutes and then he froze.
Uh-oh.
Dave is, not to quote Christopher Lloyd. There we go. Hold on. I think he's coming back. There we go. Okay, you're back. You're back.
I don't know what happened. Sorry about that good old Madawan Wi-Fi. Maybe it was me. But it's definitely budget is a big thing. Budget's a big thing. And on the first show, a lot of people did me favors. You know, like I didn't call in favors, but I was just like, hey, it's our first show. I know what you normally get. Is there anything we can do, like wiggle room? And some people were so gracious and so like cut their fucking prices in half just to work for this show, which was great. And I know that's not always going to be the case, right? I know that like there's guys that are worth so much, and I'm a big proponent on know your worth, right? Like there's nobody that should be out there making less than X, but some people suck. It's just the way it is, right? But budget's a big thing. Booking the show is my favorite part, like as far as like the who's one-on-one with who's in the triple threat, who's in a 6-man, who's in a, you know, that's the fun part for me. That's the creative part. Because I think that between me, Payne, and Tommy, we have years and years of experience of seeing how to book shows. Tommy doesn't really, but you know, all he does is bash AEW, which I try to tell him to stop, but he just won't. Some people like what they like. But yeah, so that's really the biggest thing is, yeah, budget does come into play. But it shouldn't be the thing that deters you from booking talent. You know, like Matt Cardona, he's not free, right? You know, Joey Janela, those guys, they're not. Mike Santana, TNA, they're not free. Mike Chioda, the referee, he hasn't refereed in like years. So for me to get him from Florida, got to fly him up, got to put him up in a hotel, got to, you know, there's so many things. And again, some people are just like, dude, what are you, a millionaire? I'm like, no, we just hustle, you know, like, and I have other business ventures that I'm trying to do. I own my own studio. I'm part of the My Fandom app family. You know, there's a lot that I do that, you know, goes into all this shit. So it's really where I'm at.
Jumping off of Tony's question, that was actually a great segue into the question that I was cooking up, which was, if say I'm an independent wrestling talent, I know you've been saying you're getting resumes, DMs up the wazoo. Aside from a few of the things that you talked about, I know you mentioned like just having a professional look, having professional gear. What is it that you're looking for? If you're looking at independent wrestlers, what makes somebody stand out to you enough that you say, I want to book that guy?
Respect, the way you deliver yourself. Like, you know, somebody called me Mr. Dave one time, and I was like, all right, relax. You know, like, I'm just Dave. Like, you don't have to Mr. Dave me. But I think it's a respect thing. It's a courtesy thing. It's just like to be a good person, because pro wrestling, unfortunately, is littered with bad people. It is. There's just a lot of shitty people with shitty agendas, specifically in independent wrestling. Like, yeah, like once you're at the WWE or AEW or TNA or anywhere on TV, NWA, whatever, GCW, I'll throw them in there. Like you have to you have to carry yourself a certain way. Now, I know GCW has its own flavor, but like, you know, you still got to be a good, respectable person. And I respect everybody I've never ignored a DM. Like, just let's be honest. Like, let's just call it how it is. Whether there's 1,000 or 2,000 DMs in there, I will get back to you because you took the time. Because I remember being that guy. I remember being like, hey, you know, I'm a commentator. Can I get a gig? You know, blah, blah, blah. Like, respectful and trying to introduce myself. That's what they're doing to me. So why not give it back to them as well? At least the courtesy to say, maybe not this time, maybe next time, down the road, whatever. But just be a good person, man. Just and again, I'm not knocking people's social media accounts. You are allowed to do whatever you want to do as far as social media is concerned, right? Freedom of speech is a beautiful thing, and I believe wholeheartedly in it. I'm a red-blooded American, right? Like, I believe in that shit. However, if your social media is smothered with like political shit, like, I'm sorry, man. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Just, I don't need to see it all the time, right? And same thing goes for anything, like just political stuff, because it's just, that's the hot button for everybody. But like, even if you post just, I'm a big advocate for mental health, but if you're out there like just
Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think we froze up.
Dave's Wi-Fi is freezing on us right now.
Uh-oh. Let's see. Maybe we'll come back in just a hot second here.
Come on, Wi-Fi. Refresh. While Dave's Wi-Fi is refreshing, Julie, I think one of the things that we are getting out of this is we see how busy a person Dave is, and he's making sure he takes time to look at his DMs and check his messages. And I know that's something that we've talked about a million times about people, you know, like the importance of staying like on top of your game. Like, this is your journey. Like, and I think Dave is a great example right here. He's even giving me the look right now.
Yes. Of somebody who is very busy. I think we lost him.
I think we just lost Dave. Well, I know he had a hard out in like 2 minutes from now. Anyways,
we'll see if he happens to pop back on in the last minute or two. And
right. Well, while waiting for Dave to jump back on, we could talk about our show for next Tuesday.
Yes,
we have the veteran Jack Vaughn on the show next Tuesday.
Tony,
now this one is
I cannot express how excited I am for this one. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So I'm glad that we were finally able to get this on the calendar, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. Jack's a super nice guy from all of the times that I've spoken with him. Very obviously very funny, but just a very kind and professional person as well. So I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
It's funny because Mosh Pit is in the comments here. He says next Tuesday is going to be fun because he posted a video or a picture of Jack, and I DM'd him back, and I was like, we haven't announced it yet, but he's going to be on our show next Tuesday, so definitely want to check it out. There's Dave. Dave is back. Dave is back.
You know, it's funny. The worst part about all this is that I'm promoting, like, I'm at my own studio, and I'm like, yeah, come on, rent my studio. No. My Wi-Fi just fucking keeps rolling out.
It's the companies. It's the companies.
Or something that I'm not aware of. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's the trust me. Wi-Fi is not in our control. That's the one thing we can't control in life is our Wi-Fi. That's
sure. Usually I'm like hardwired in, and I don't know. It's been but I don't know where I was with all that, but.
You were talking about mental health, about people talking about mental health.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, it's okay. I understand if you got stuff going on, right? I understand that because everybody does, right? We're all in this crazy world together, but you know, just keep it to a minimum as far as like how much you want everybody else to know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to know that your baby daddy ran out on you or your baby mama ran out. Like, I don't give a shit, dude. Like, don't put that on social media. There's certain things you just leave at home. Right. And then just come wrestle, have a good time. Right. So that's really what I look for. I don't really look for like, yeah, you want to look for the look and the talent and all that shit. But like at the end of the day, you just want a good person on your show. That's all. And that's why I think the first show was very successful because we had a really good bunch of people.
Dave, I have one more question. And Julie and I were kind of conversating about that. You know, you talk about people and their social media not, you know, getting too carried away. But what about the people that aren't involved in their social media that, we said that how busy a guy you are, that you take time to read your messages, check your messages. And I know Julie and I, when we set up a lot of shows, we're like, well, we'd like to get this person on, but they just don't ever read their messages or look in their inbox. What would you say to people who aren't on top of their game out there?
You're going to miss out on opportunities. Had I not answered a DM from Julie, slid into my DMs oh so nicely, like I would have never done this show, right? But like you got to be accessible. I don't like the guy, but Bill Belichick is a coach that nobody really likes because of all the times he's won the Super Bowl. Coach, what up, kid? I actually did a podcast with him too, not too long ago. I'm thinking it airs next week. But I will say, like Coach Belichick said, the best ability is availability. So like that is something that I've instilled to make sure I'm accessible. And if you're in the pro wrestling game and you don't have a social media presence in 2024, buddy, I'm sorry to tell you, the 80s are gone. Like even the early 90s are gone. You have to adjust and adapt. Like guys like my champion, Danny Moff, I think he learned too much social media, and he's an older cat, right? So he won't shut the hell up. Like he dude, you know what he looks like? And I always compare him to this. I tell him this all the time. I said, your story on Instagram looks like a drunk girl on New Year's Eve where it's like there's too many of them, right? And you're like, I'm not going through this shit. No way.
When people go to a concert and they have to take a video.
Dude, it's like, can you enjoy the concert? Like, is that a thing? I took videos of Creed. I wasn't live streaming Creed.
Right.
I was just like, I'll watch Creed.
Here and
I'll take my photos. Right. I'll take my photos and videos and call it a day. Right. But just be available, be accessible. And that's my message to any independent wrestler. If you're just getting started, even if you think your in-ring ability stinks, right? Because you're brand new, get on the mic and cut promos. Get on the mic and do some graphic work. Do like Coach who just came in here, my guy over here. He's a perfect example of like, tried something, didn't work. Guess what? Gonna try this, keep going. You know what I mean? Like, and the proof's in the pudding because you keep chasing the certain thing that you're so passionate about. Just keep going. And the only way you do that is if you have a presence on social media. If I wasn't in the pro wrestling industry or the social media management industry or even own a studio or in the sports world, I probably would be off social media because all I like to do is really just like show off my kids and shit. Really, that's like only thing I want to do. But like outside of that, I get the hell off this toxic shit. No way. I know what it entails and I know what you got to do to get yourself over is like just flood your shit because that's what if a promoter's like, who do I want to book this time? Well, this guy, he won't shut the hell up about this one show. So let me get over there and see what he's going on. You know what I mean? So, and that's the same thing that goes for you guys. Like I'm on like, I don't even know at this point, 5 shows at this point, like that I do on a weekly basis. But like, I'll guarantee myself that if I can make or cut up 3 clips per show, that'll flood my shit for a week. Yeah. And guess what? Rinse and repeat. You know what I mean? Like that's the name of the game, man. That's it.
And while we're on the topic of social media, Dave, I know you're a very busy man with a busy schedule. So before we let you go, where can the people find you on social media? And do you have any last words you'd like to say in regards to Fight Factory's Knuckle Brawl, which is coming up? That is Saturday.
Yeah,
September 21st.
The shock that we got a Saturday. It's great. It's a good feeling.
Perfect show day.
Night. No, I'm Dave Sturchio across the board on Twitter. My Twitter is flooded with Cowboy stuff. So if you want pro wrestling stuff, you're going to have to sift through a lot of my bullshit with the Dallas Cowboys stuff. But you can find me, Dave Sturchio, on Instagram as well. I have a Snapchat. I barely use it. I don't even know. I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly, I'm going to be 39 in about 5 days. I'm going to be 39 very soon. Right. So I'm just like, I'm still learning as I go. I'm barely on TikTok. I try. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to that shit. But that's where you can find me. And as far as last words or whatever to sign off is that I think I'm a prime example, and I don't like to toot my own horn or doing this, but if it can inspire somebody else to take a bet on themselves, to drop everything and run full speed, even if the door is shut, like if that door is shut, just run full speed, because you know what? The worst that's going to happen is that you're going to blow through that fucking door and it's going to hurt. But guess what? The wounds, they heal, right? Like you'll be fine. And concussions, they may suck. They do. And that's why I'm not wrestling anymore. But like, I think betting on yourself is the best medicine to cure a lot of your bullshit. I know everybody's out there dragging themselves through the constant, life is tough, man. Life, it's not easy to go through an everyday life, either if you hate your job or you're in a bad relationship or your friends suck or you're lacking of friends or you're just really busy or whatever the case may be. I think that if you just bet on yourself and challenge yourself, you kind of give yourself something to do every day, right? Like now you don't have to worry so much about who's winning the election or who's going to, do this or why is this person talking shit or what. There will be naysayers forever. There will be people that will doubt you forever. Use that shit as fuel, ball it up and throw it right back in their face when it's all said and done, man. And just make it rain fucking everywhere and just keep dominating. Do not stop for anybody. Don't let anybody tell you no. If you hear a lot of no's, go create your own yes and buy some fucking tickets to Fight Factory Wrestling on September 21st in Staten Island, New York. Let's fucking go. I say that a lot. I should coin it, but everybody says it nowadays. But yeah, man, I'm pumped about the road I've taken. It ain't easy. I do not sleep. I sleep relatively good. I've finally stumbled into the wonderful world of gummies and so that helps, but like other than that, like there's a lot of sleepless nights out there, but it all is worth it when you get to just get up, love what you do what you love, and don't listen to anybody, man. Just do you. Take that chance. That's my last thing. Take the chance, because if you don't take the chance, you're never going to find out if that was a good or a bad move. And I'm telling you, accept failure. Just be prepared to fail over and over and over again, because the only way you're going to grow in this entire, whatever industry you're in. You could be a dentist, you could be a wrestler, you could be a football player, you could be a fucking nanny. I don't care what you are, but you have to fail first in order to dust yourself off and just say, you know what, that sucked, but I'm better for it. So that's really it.
Oh, that might be one of the best outros we've ever had on the show, Julie.
So. Amen,
I am like motivated right now.
I'm ready if you want to go run through a brick wall, I got one. It's on the wall.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Not.
Oh, man, that was so great. And Dave, yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And definitely we are both wishing you just a lot of success in your future endeavors. And, man, Tiki Bar, professional wrestling, Jersey. It just sounds like a hell of a time. I mean, I'm down here in Miami, soon to be Atlanta. I'm moving on up, getting a little closer. So hopefully,
you know what? First of all, like I can't even let you slip that in. Like you're like, oh, I'm down here in Dade County or Miami. It's like, yes. Man, like you got a summer all year round. Like you should be happy as a pig and shit right now. Like we're about to deal with the Northeast, and that's not fun. Ask Julie. She's little. She probably gets buried in 3 feet of snow. It's not fair.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean?
With the snow tires on my car, though, I'm like a little bulldozer. So I've gotten used to it. I can navigate anything. I'm small, but I'm fierce.
There it is. And Julie, I wholeheartedly, I love what you do. I see all your stuff. You're doing great work. Keep going. Don't listen to anybody. I'm sure. Listen, with all the exposure you're giving yourself, which is great, there's going to be people out there that say like you're too short or you're this or your makeup sucks or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be, and you know what you got to do, man? You just got to be like, that's cool. Watch my next move. This will be fun. You know
what? Quick note here. So recently somebody on Instagram told me that I am Ariana Grande from Temu. And I was like, honestly, the fact that you're even comparing me to Ariana Grande is pretty nice. So I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean,
you get
I don't see it. Listen, man. People are listen. At the end of the day, this is the bottom line. People suck. They just all suck. They just want if they're miserable in their own lives, they will project that to you. So just keep doing what you're doing. You have a future booking with Fight Factory Wrestling as our ring announcer, and I think that's going to be great for you, Tony. If you ever want to make the trip up to the Northeast, my man, I will gladly use you as a backstage correspondent or something like that. We'll fucking let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's have a good time.
Let's do it, Julie. We got to talk. We got to arrange a collaboration weekend. We got to make this happen. We are go-getters, that's for sure. And you extend the invitation, and we'll make it happen for sure. So Dave,
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and don't think I won't take you up on your offer, because I sure as hell will.
I'll never, ever, ever, I'll never, ever, ever say something that I don't mean. Trust me on that. I will never fluff you up and talk all good about you and then close the laptop and say, like, those guys are fucking losers. You know, like, I'm jazzed up. That's why I do this. I don't just listen. I've been approached to do other shows. I'm just like, yeah, okay, great. You know, like, I'll do it when I can. But you guys, you have a nice presence. Everything's put together so nicely. That's why I did Coach's show. That's why I do what I do. I try to give back and also just try to inspire a couple people that if you're feeling down on a certain day about your career choice or anything like that, guess what? You're not stuck there. You can just do whatever you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The only limitations are the ones that you put on yourself.
There you go. So that'd be that.
Well, Dave, again, thank you so much. I know you got to head out. Julie, where can people follow you at?
So I am most active on Instagram. My Instagram is @thecrownjewels. Crown is with an E at the end. It's the old English spelling. That's just how we roll here. I also have a couple of shows coming up. I will be with Rebel Spirit Pro Wrestling on Sunday, September 15th, as well as Sunday, September 22nd. And then in October, I will be coming down to CCW in Kissimmee, Florida, and that is going to be Friday, October 11th. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find more updates there. Dave, thank you so much again. Super
Julie,
excited.
Listen, and this is just stands as an invite. If you're not busy, I know you're busy on the 22nd, but if on the 21st you're bored and you're in Connecticut, you're like, I feel like I got nothing going on. I want to drive. I will use you for something on the 21st. So you let me know. You
are amazing, Dave. Thank you so much. And we will definitely be in touch very soon. We'll be in touch.
Sure.
But thank you again for a great interview and a lot of great inspirational words. I know I take a lot of what you say and I relate to a lot of what you say. And so I hope that the viewers and any folks in wrestling as well who are watching are able to take some of those words for themselves.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, again, Tuesday, join us next week. Julie's back here on the show with the veteran Jack Vaughn as our guest. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So next week's podcast, former OVW heavyweight champion. It's going to be a lot of fun. Dave, Julie, again, thank you both so much for joining me here on Toned In Entertainment. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that red subscribe button so you can stay tuned in here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos. Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.